The unveiling. The vast expanse of space, once thought to be a quiet and solitary realm, was now buzzing with whispers of fear and awe. In the heart of the Milky Way galaxy, nestled amidst the stars, a covert project was nearing its completion, shrouded in secrecy and mystery. On the distant planet Earth, hidden from prying eyes and cloaked in the veils of classified operations, engineers and scientists toiled tirelessly. Their mission: to create a vessel unlike any other, a symbol of human ingenuity and power, capable of traversing the depths of space with unparalleled might. For years, the project had remained concealed from the public eye, known only to a select few within the highest echelons of government and military. But now, as the final preparations reached their climax, the time had come for the world to witness the unveiling of the most advanced spacecraft ever conceived. Deep within a heavily guarded facility, bathed in the glow of fluorescent lights and humming with the hum of machinery, a sleek and menacing form lay in wait. Its hull gleamed with a dark metallic sheen, its contours sharp and imposing against the backdrop of the hangar. This was the USS Black Star, a supercarrier unlike any other, bristling with state-of-the-art technology and armed to the teeth. Its mere existence sent ripples of unease through the galactic community, for it symbolized Earth's emergence as a formidable player on the cosmic stage. As the countdown to the unveiling began, anticipation hung heavy in the air. High-ranking officials and distinguished guests from around the world had gathered to bear witness to this historic moment, their eyes fixed on the massive doors of the hangar. With a low rumble, the doors began to slide open, revealing the sleek silhouette of the USS Black Star bathed in the harsh glare of floodlights. Gasps of astonishment rippled through the crowd as they beheld the magnitude of the vessel before them. Admiral Jonathan Hayes, the mastermind behind the project, stepped forward to address the gathering, his voice resonating with pride and determination. "Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a new chapter in the history of mankind. With the unveiling of the USS Black Star, we assert our place among the stars and declare our readiness to defend our planet against any threat, no matter how formidable." Cheers erupted from the crowd as the enormity of the moment sank in. For here, in the heart of Earth's most advanced facility, a beacon of hope had been born, a testament to humanity's unyielding spirit and boundless ambition. But even as the celebrations echoed through the halls, whispers of caution lingered in the air, for with the unveiling of the USS Black Star, Earth had signaled its intent to wield power on a scale never before seen, a fact that did not go unnoticed by those who watched from afar, their gaze filled with trepidation and uncertainty. And so, as the stars continued to twinkle in the vast expanse of space, the stage was set for a new era of exploration and discovery, one where the fate of worlds would be decided by the actions of a select few who dared to reach for the stars. Galactic ripples. In the wake of the USS Black Star's unveiling, a ripple of unease spread throughout the galactic community. News of Earth's formidable supercarrier spread like wildfire across the cosmos, sparking conversations and debates among the various alien civilizations that dotted the expanse of space. On distant planets and bustling space stations, diplomats and ambassadors convened urgent meetings, their discussions tinged with apprehension and uncertainty. For millennia, the galaxy had known relative peace, with conflicts kept at bay by a delicate balance of power and diplomacy. But now, with the emergence of a new player wielding unprecedented might, the status quo had been irrevocably altered. Among the most concerned were the members of the Galactic Council, an assembly of the most influential civilizations in the galaxy, tasked with maintaining order and stability among the stars. In their hallowed chambers, nestled within the heart of a celestial fortress, the councilors gathered to deliberate the implications of Earth's newfound strength. Supreme Chancellor Zorath, a venerable elder of the ancient Kryn Empire, presided over the council, his gaze grave and contemplative. "My esteemed colleagues," he began, his voice resonating with wisdom accumulated over centuries, "the unveiling of the USS Black Star represents a pivotal moment in the history of the galaxy. We cannot afford to underestimate the significance of this development." Nods of agreement rippled through the assembly, as counselors from a myriad of species voiced their concerns. "Earth's rapid advancement is unprecedented," remarked Ambassador Zalara, a sleek and enigmatic representative of the elusive Ardan Confederacy. "Their technological prowess poses a threat not only to our civilizations, but to the delicate balance of power that has kept the galaxy in equilibrium for eons." As the debate raged on, alliances were tested and allegiances strained. Some advocated for preemptive action, urging the Council to take decisive measures to contain Earth's growing influence. Others cautioned against aggression, advocating for diplomacy and dialogue as the preferred path forward. But amidst the discord, a shadowy figure lurked in the shadows, unseen and unheard. Known only as the Broker, this enigmatic being operated in the murky depths of the galactic underworld, pulling strings and manipulating events from the shadows. With a flicker of his ethereal tendrils, the Broker observed the Council's deliberations with keen interest, his inscrutable motives shrouded in mystery. For in the chaos of uncertainty, there existed opportunity, and the Broker was always one to capitalize on chaos. As the counselors debated the fate of the galaxy, little did they know that their actions would set into motion a chain of events that would shape the destiny of worlds and civilizations for centuries to come. And amidst the swirling currents of intrigue and uncertainty, the stage was set for a clash of titans, where the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Echoes of conflict. In the vast expanse of space, where the stars winked like distant beacons in the night, tensions simmered like a volatile storm on the horizon. The unveiling of the USS Black Star had sent shockwaves rippling through the galactic community, igniting fears of conflict and uncertainty among the various alien civilizations that called the cosmos home. Amidst the growing unease, whispers of discontent echoed through the corridors of power as ambitious factions and rival empires sought to capitalize on the shifting dynamics of the galactic stage. On the war-torn planet of Zerion Prime, a once thriving bastion of civilization now ravaged by centuries of conflict, a shadowy cabal known as the Crimson Syndicate plotted their next move. Led by the enigmatic warlord Vexen, the Crimson Syndicate had long operated in the shadows, their tendrils of influence extending far and wide across the galaxy. For years, they had remained content with their lucrative schemes and clandestine operations, but the emergence of Earth's supercarrier threatened to upset the delicate balance of power they had worked so hard to maintain. In the depths of their hidden fortress, nestled within the smoldering ruins of Zerion Prime's capital city, Warlord Vexen surveyed a holographic map of the galaxy with a predatory glint in his eyes. "The unveiling of the USS Black Star changes everything," he growled, his voice tinged with barely restrained fury. "Earth's arrogance will be their downfall, but it is up to us to hasten their demise." His lieutenants nodded in silent agreement, their faces concealed beneath hooded cloaks as they awaited their orders. Among them stood Valeria, a skilled infiltrator and master of deception, her loyalty to the Syndicate unwavering despite the doubts that gnawed at her conscience. But as Warlord Vexen outlined his plans for conquest and domination, Valeria felt a flicker of doubt stir within her heart. The Syndicate's thirst for power had blinded them to the true dangers that lurked in the shadows, and she knew that their ambitions could spell doom for countless innocents caught in the crossfire. With a heavy heart, Valeria resolved to take matters into her own hands, to seek out allies among the stars and thwart the Syndicate's nefarious schemes before it was too late. For she knew that in the ever-shifting currents of galactic politics, the line between friend and foe was often blurred, and only by forging unlikely alliances could she hope to avert disaster. And so, as the echoes of conflict reverberated through the cosmos, Valeria embarked on a perilous journey into the unknown, her fate intertwined with that of the galaxy itself. For in the crucible of war, heroes would rise and villains would fall, and the destiny of worlds would be decided by those who dared to defy the darkness. Shadows of betrayal. As tensions continued to mount in the wake of the USS Black Star's unveiling, shadows of betrayal danced across the galactic stage, casting doubt and suspicion upon even the most steadfast alliances. In the heart of the Ardan Confederacy, a once unbreakable bond between allies began to fray under the weight of deceit and treachery. High above the bustling metropolis of Ardan Prime, nestled within the towering spires of the Confederacy's capital, Chancellor Ralthar grappled with the burden of leadership. For centuries, the Ardan Confederacy had stood as a beacon of unity and prosperity among the stars, its people bound together by a shared vision of peace and cooperation. But beneath the veneer of stability, whispers of discontent simmered among the ranks of the Confederacy's elite. Rumors of corruption and collusion spread like wildfire through the halls of power, sowing seeds of doubt and discord among those who had once sworn allegiance to the Chancellor's cause. Unbeknownst to Chancellor Ralthar, a shadowy cabal known as the Twilight Consortium lurked in the shadows, their tendrils of influence extending far beyond the reaches of the Confederacy's borders. Led by the enigmatic figure known only as the Overseer, the consortium had long coveted the Confederacy's vast wealth and resources, and now, with Earth's supercarrier threatening to upset the delicate balance of power, they saw an opportunity to seize control. Deep within the bowels of their hidden fortress, concealed beneath layers of secrecy and subterfuge, the Overseer convened his inner circle to discuss their next move. "The time has come to strike," he declared, his voice laced with malice. "The Ardan Confederacy grows weak, its chancellor blinded by arrogance and complacency. We shall exploit their vulnerabilities and seize control of their empire once and for all." His lieutenants nodded in silent agreement, their faces shrouded in darkness as they awaited their orders. Among them stood Kayla, a skilled operative whose loyalty to the consortium was surpassed only by her thirst for power and ambition. But as the Overseer outlined his plans for conquest and domination, a flicker of doubt stirred within Kayla's heart. The Chancellor had once been a mentor to her, a guiding light in a world consumed by shadows, and she could not bring herself to betray him so easily. With a heavy heart, Kayla resolved to uncover the truth behind the Chancellor's downfall, to seek out allies among the Confederacy's ranks, and expose the consortium's machinations before it was too late. For she knew that in the game of shadows, loyalty was a rare commodity, and only by standing together could they hope to defy the darkness that threatened to consume them all. The Chancellor's Gambit. As shadows of betrayal loomed large over the Ardan Confederacy, Chancellor Ralthar found himself locked in a deadly game of cat and mouse, where the stakes were nothing less than the fate of his empire. With the Twilight Consortium's insidious machinations threatening to tear the Confederacy apart from within, the Chancellor knew that he must act swiftly and decisively to protect his people and preserve their way of life. In the hallowed halls of the Confederacy's Grand Citadel, Chancellor Ralthar convened an emergency council of his most trusted advisors, their faces etched with concern as they discussed the growing threat posed by the consortium. "We stand on the brink of war," the Chancellor declared, his voice ringing with resolve. "But we will not falter in the face of adversity. We will stand united against our enemies and emerge victorious, no matter the cost." Among the counselors sat Captain Tyriel, a seasoned veteran of countless battles and a staunch defender of the Confederacy's ideals. With a steely gaze, he addressed his comrades, his voice a beacon of strength and determination. "The consortium may think us weak, but they underestimate our resolve. We will show them the true meaning of defiance and drive them back into the shadows from whence they came." But even as the Chancellor and his advisors rallied their forces for the coming conflict, a whisper of doubt lingered in the air. For among their ranks lurked a traitor, a shadowy figure whose allegiance lay not with the Confederacy, but with the Twilight Consortium. Unbeknownst to the Chancellor, Kayla had infiltrated the council under the guise of loyalty, her true motives concealed behind a mask of deceit and deception. As the Chancellor outlined his plans for defense and mobilization, she listened intently, her mind racing with thoughts of betrayal and ambition. But as the council meeting drew to a close, and the Chancellor dismissed his advisors to carry out their orders, Kayla found herself torn between duty and desire. The Chancellor had been a mentor to her, a guiding light in a world consumed by shadows, and she could not bring herself to betray him so easily. With a heavy heart, Kayla resolved to uncover the truth behind the Chancellor's downfall, to seek out allies among the Confederacy's ranks and expose the consortium's treachery before it was too late. for she knew that in the crucible of war, loyalty was a rare commodity, and only by standing together could they hope to defy the darkness that threatened to consume them all. Shadows revealed. In the heart of the Ardan Confederacy, amidst the swirling currents of intrigue and betrayal, the stage was set for a confrontation that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. As Chancellor Ralthar mobilized his forces to repel the impending threat posed by the Twilight Consortium, shadows of doubt and suspicion clouded the minds of those who stood on the precipice of war. Within the labyrinthine corridors of the Confederacy's Grand Citadel, Kayla prowled like a phantom, her allegiance torn between loyalty to her mentor and the insidious whispers of the Twilight Consortium. With each passing moment, the weight of her deception grew heavier, threatening to consume her from within. But even as Kayla wrestled with her inner turmoil, a shadowy figure lurked in the shadows, watching her every move with keen interest. Known only as the Watcher, this enigmatic operative had been tasked with monitoring Kayla's actions and ensuring that she remained loyal to the consortium's cause. With a flicker of his ethereal tendrils, the Watcher observed Kayla's interactions with Chancellor Ralthar, his inscrutable motives shrouded in mystery. For he knew that in the game of shadows, trust was a fleeting commodity, and only by manipulating events from the shadows could he hope to emerge victorious. Meanwhile, on the war-torn planet of Zerion Prime, Warlord Vexen prepared to unleash his forces upon the unsuspecting Confederacy, his thirst for power driving him ever closer to the brink of madness. With the Twilight Consortium's support, he had amassed a vast army of mercenaries, ready to lay waste to everything in their path in the name of conquest and domination. But even as Vexen reveled in his newfound power, a flicker of doubt gnawed at the edges of his consciousness. For centuries, the people of Zerion Prime had suffered under the yoke of oppression, their hopes and dreams crushed beneath the heel of his tyranny. And now, as he stood on the cusp of victory, he wondered if his lust for power had blinded him to the suffering of those he had sworn to protect. With a heavy heart, Vexen resolved to confront the darkness that lurked within his soul, to seek redemption for his past sins, and forge a new path forward for his people. For he knew that in the crucible of war, true strength lay not in the power of one's weapons, but in the courage to stand against the shadows and fight for what was right. The Gathering Storm. As the galactic stage was set for conflict and upheaval, a gathering storm brewed on the horizon, threatening to engulf the cosmos in a tempest of chaos and despair. From the gleaming spires of the Ardan Confederacy to the war-torn plains of Zerion Prime, the forces of light and darkness converged, their fates intertwined in a dance of destiny. In the heart of the Confederacy's Grand Citadel, Chancellor Ralthar rallied his forces for the impending battle, his voice a beacon of hope amid the encroaching darkness. With each passing moment, the threat posed by the Twilight Consortium grew ever more dire, their insidious machinations threatening to tear the fabric of galactic society asunder. But even as the Chancellor prepared for war, whispers of dissent echoed through the halls of power as doubts and suspicions clouded the minds of those who stood on the brink of conflict. Among them stood Kayla, her allegiance torn between loyalty to her mentor and the clandestine whispers of the consortium. Deep within the shadows of the Citadel's labyrinthine corridors, Kayla wrestled with her conscience, her heart torn asunder by conflicting loyalties. For years, she had served the Confederacy with unwavering dedication, but now, as the specter of betrayal loomed large, she found herself questioning everything she once held dear. Meanwhile, on the distant planet of Zerion Prime, Warlord Vexen prepared to unleash his forces upon the unsuspecting Confederacy, his thirst for power driving him ever closer to the brink of madness. With the Twilight Consortium's support, he had amassed a vast army of mercenaries, ready to lay waste to everything in their path in the name of conquest and domination. But even as Vexen reveled in his newfound strength, a flicker of doubt gnawed at the edges of his consciousness. For centuries, the people of Zerion Prime had suffered under the weight of his tyranny, their hopes and dreams crushed beneath the heel of his oppression. And now, as he stood on the cusp of victory, he wondered if his lust for power had blinded him to the suffering of those he had sworn to protect. With a heavy heart, Vexen resolved to confront the darkness that lurked within his soul, to seek redemption for his past sins and forge a new path forward for his people. For he knew that in the crucible of war, true strength lay not in the power of one's weapons, but in the courage to stand against the shadows and fight for what was right. Clash of Titans. As the forces of light and darkness gathered for the impending clash, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of oblivion. From the gleaming spires of the Ardan Confederacy to the war-torn plains of Xerion Prime, the echoes of war reverberated through the cosmos, heralding the arrival of a conflict that would reshape the destiny of worlds. In the heart of the Ardan Confederacy's grand citadel, Chancellor Ralthar stood resolute, his gaze unwavering as he surveyed the gathering storm on the horizon. With each passing moment, the threat posed by the Twilight Consortium grew ever more dire, their insidious machinations threatening to plunge the galaxy into darkness. But even as the Chancellor rallied his forces for the coming battle, shadows of doubt and suspicion lingered in the air, as whispers of betrayal echoed through the halls of power. Among them stood Kayla, her heart heavy with the weight of her deception, torn between loyalty to her mentor and the insidious whispers of the Consortium. As the tension reached its breaking point, the first shots of the conflict were fired, unleashing a maelstrom of chaos and destruction upon the unsuspecting galaxy. From the depths of space to the surface of distant planets, the forces of light and darkness clashed in a titanic struggle for supremacy, their weapons of war unleashing devastation upon all who stood in their path. On Xerion Prime, Warlord Vexen led his forces into battle with a ferocity born of desperation, his thirst for power driving him ever closer to the brink of madness. With the Twilight Consortium's support, he unleashed a relentless assault upon the Confederacy's defenses, determined to crush all who opposed him beneath the heel of his tyranny. But even as Vexen reveled in his newfound strength, a flicker of doubt gnawed at the edges of his consciousness. For centuries, the people of Xerion Prime had suffered under the weight of his oppression, their hopes and dreams crushed beneath the heel of his tyranny. And now, as he stood on the cusp of victory, he wondered if his lust for power had blinded him to the suffering of those he had sworn to protect. As the battle raged on, alliances were tested and allegiances shattered, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. For in the crucible of war, heroes would rise and villains would fall, and the destiny of worlds would be decided by those who dared to defy the darkness and fight for what was right. Amidst the chaos. In the midst of the chaos and destruction that engulfed the galaxy, a glimmer of hope flickered like a beacon in the darkness. As the forces of light and darkness clashed in a titanic struggle for supremacy, heroes and villains alike emerged from the fray, their actions shaping the destiny of worlds and civilizations. Amidst the carnage, Chancellor Ralthar stood resolute, his determination unwavering in the face of overwhelming odds. Leading the Confederacy's defense with courage and conviction, he rallied his forces against the relentless onslaught of the Twilight Consortium, his voice a clarion call to all who fought beside him. But even as the Chancellor battled tirelessly to defend his people, shadows of doubt and uncertainty loomed large in the hearts of those who stood against him. Among them stood Kayla, torn between loyalty to her mentor and the insidious whispers of the Consortium that had ensnared her heart. As the conflict raged on, Kayla found herself grappling with her conscience, torn between the conflicting loyalties that threatened to tear her apart. For years, she had served the Confederacy with unwavering dedication, but now, as the specter of betrayal loomed large, she questioned everything she once held dear. Deep within the labyrinthine corridors of the Ardan Confederacy's grand citadel, Kayla sought solace amidst the chaos, her mind consumed by doubt and regret. But even as she wrestled with her inner turmoil, a voice from the shadows spoke to her, offering guidance and clarity in her darkest hour. It was the Watcher, the enigmatic operative who had monitored her actions on behalf of the Twilight Consortium, revealing himself at last in a bid to sway her to their cause. "You are destined for greatness, Kayla," he whispered, his voice laced with honeyed promises of power and glory. "Join us, and together we shall rule the galaxy as masters of our own destiny." But even as the Watcher extended his offer of allegiance, Kayla hesitated, her heart torn between the allure of power and the bonds of loyalty that still tethered her to the Confederacy. For she knew that in the crucible of war, true strength lay not in the pursuit of power, but in the courage to stand against the darkness and fight for what was right. With a heavy heart, Kayla turned her back on the Watcher's offer, choosing instead to stand by the Chancellor's side and defend the Arden Confederacy against the forces of darkness. For she knew that in the end, it was not power or glory that defined a hero, but the strength of their convictions and the courage to face their fears head-on. The dawn of reconciliation. As the echoes of battle resounded through the galaxy, a fragile peace hung in the balance, teetering on the brink of collapse. In the aftermath of the conflict that had torn worlds asunder, heroes and survivors emerged from the wreckage, their hearts heavy with the weight of loss and uncertainty. Amidst the smoldering ruins of Zarian Prime, Warlord Vexen surveyed the devastation wrought by his ambitions, his once mighty empire reduced to rubble by the fires of war. With the Twilight Consortium's support withdrawn and his forces scattered to the winds, he found himself alone in the aftermath of his own downfall, grappling with the consequences of his actions. But even as Vexen stood amidst the ruins of his shattered dreams, a flicker of hope stirred within his heart. For in the crucible of war, he had come to realize the folly of his lust for power, and the true cost of the tyranny he had wrought upon his people. With a heavy heart, Vexen resolved to seek redemption for his past sins, to rebuild his shattered empire from the ashes and forge a new path forward for his people. For he knew that in the darkness of despair, there existed the spark of hope and the chance for a brighter future for all who dared to reach for it. Meanwhile, in the hallowed halls of the Arden Confederacy's Grand Citadel, Chancellor Ralthar surveyed the scars of war that marred his beloved empire, his heart heavy with grief for those who had been lost in the conflict. But even amidst the devastation, he found solace in the knowledge that the spirit of his people remained unbroken, their resilience a testament to the strength of their convictions. With the conflict finally at an end, Chancellor Ralthar extended an olive branch to his former enemies, offering a hand of reconciliation and forgiveness in the hopes of forging a lasting peace. For he knew that in the aftermath of war, true healing could only begin with understanding and forgiveness, and the willingness to set aside old grievances in pursuit of a better tomorrow. As the galaxy began to heal from the wounds of conflict, whispers of hope echoed through the cosmos, heralding the dawn of a new era of cooperation and unity among the stars. And amidst the ashes of the past, a glimmer of light shone bright, illuminating the path towards a future where peace and prosperity reigned supreme, and the bonds of friendship and brotherhood transcended the boundaries of space and time.